my sister announced at Mom's funeral she was keeping the house. She hadn't spoken to her in 6 years. Her name is Claire. She is 4 years older than me, and the last time she had a real conversation with our mother was at Christmas 2017 during a fight about money she already owed. She did not call on Mom's birthday after that. She did not visit once during the illness. She sent a card for the last Christmas and nothing after. I moved back home in 2019. 7 years of living 40 minutes away while Claire lived overseas and found reasons not to come back. 7 years of appointments and prescriptions and night calls and the specific loneliness of being the only person in a room with someone who is diminishing. I am not telling you this for sympathy. I am telling you this so you understand what the room felt like when Claire stood up at the funeral home reception and said she had decided she would be taking the house. Nobody stopped her. People were still holding cups of tea. The solicitor was in the corner of the room. Claire said she was the eldest. She said the family home should stay with family. Then she said, Mom always wanted me to have it. She told me so. She said that at our mother's funeral, without a tremor, while I was standing 8 feet away. My cousin Marcus, who had visited exactly twice in 5 years and been fed both times by the woman we had just buried, stood up and said Claire was right. That this was what the family needed. That this was what Mom would have wanted. He then looked at me and said I should be supporting my sister in her grief. 6 years. A Christmas card. I reached into my jacket and placed a document on the table. One sheet, folded once. The title deed to the house at 14 Orchard Lane. Registered in my name. Transferred with full legal witnesses 2 years ago, October. Mom had been clear-headed enough to make the appointment herself, travel to the solicitor's office herself, and sign without assistance. I know because I drove her and waited outside. The solicitor in the corner looked at his shoes. He had already seen this document. He had already confirmed privately that nothing Claire wanted was legally possible. Marcus leaned over and said to me at our mother's funeral, 8 days after we buried her, "You're making this about money. At your own mother's funeral, she would be ashamed." I said nothing. I picked up the document. I put it back in my jacket. Then I said one thing to Claire. I said, "Call the solicitor on Monday." Claire called me 3 days later, not to apologize. Tell me that I had manipulated a dying woman into signing documents she didn't understand. That was her precise claim, that our mother had not understood what she was doing. The solicitor's file contains Mom's specific, written, dictated instruction, word for word. She asked him to write this down, she told him, because she wanted it to be clearer. The instruction reads, "My daughter Claire has not been present for my care for 6 years. This property is the result of my son Marcus's daily presence and sacrifice. I am making this decision in full understanding and I do not wish to be persuaded otherwise." She used the word sacrifice. I had not heard her use that word about me before. I live in the house now. Claire has not called since the Monday. Marcus still occasionally likes my posts on social media and I genuinely cannot tell you why. Some people wait until someone is buried to announce what they were owed. That is not grief. That is an invoice delivered in a room where nobody can argue back.